Hey guys, I am so excited to be talking to you guys today after last night's amazing episode. I actually thought last night's episode was better than the 3B premiere. I don't know what you guys thought, but I've seen a lot of your comments on my reaction video. I've replied to almost everybody, but I still have a few to catch up on, so if I didn't get to yours, I will get there today. I'm just going to say hi to who's in the room right now, and if you haven't said hey, and you want to shout out or you're gonna talk during this, go ahead and say hi right now. Hi, Deja, Eli, Sunny, Niece, Rachel, Terrence. Thank you so much for being here. But what did you guys, hi, Dylan. What did you guys think about this episode? I feel like there was a lot to talk about, so wherever you want to start, we can start. Hi, Daniela. Hi, Jordel. Ben E, hey, thank you for being here. But I just felt like it was kind of packed with stuff going on. And my favorite part of it was the shady Maggie stuff, because a lot of you guys think Maggie is shady, and I've been saying she's shady for actually since they introduced her. But for the show to actually acknowledge, for Laurel to acknowledge that Maggie is shady, made me really happy, because I'm like, yes, finally. Now, I don't know, by them making her, saying she's shady, does that count her out as a suspect? Possibly. I don't know, but I'm still sticking with my Maggie theory. So Rachel feels like Bonnie is going to go to prison at the end. Well, I think she was pretty nervous when Oliver and everyone was talking about Rebecca's death, because she knows she did it. They don't know. And I could just tell she was super, super nervous about it. Dylan is from England, and I'm your fave YouTuber. That is so sweet. Thank you so much. And How to Get Away with Murder is your fave show, and you think Bonnie is the killer. Now, personally, I would be super happy, even more happy than Maggie being the killer. I would be so happy if one of the main one of the main cast members ends up being Wes's killer. That would make me so happy, and I think that would be super bold. Even though they've killed off Wes, and that was a bold move, it would be really bold of them to make a person who is a main cast member his killer. Hi, Ralph. Hi, Firkin. Thank you guys for being here. Hi, Allie. Allie was going to go into the shower. She's going in the shower, so we'll see Allie a little bit later. Now, I've gotten a lot of buzz on my channel about Nate. A lot of you seem to think that Nate is our killer. And Ralph, I remember telling me you had a theory that Nate could not be the killer, and I forgot what that was. And if you still have that theory, let me know. But there's some pretty convincing Nate killer theories from you guys on my comments. I see Niece saying Nate is the killer. Samantha says Maggie is so shady. Absolutely. Rachel says Nate is being shady. He is being really shady. I mean, I can kind of see his point, because Annalise has screwed him over so many times. So it's like he's not going to be on Team Annalise, but he's kind of on the DA's team, but I thought they broke up. So it's like he doesn't really have a place to fit in. It's really weird. Firkin doesn't like Nate at all. I would be happy with Nate being our killer. I think that would be a very good reveal. That would be pretty interesting to me. I'm just trying to figure out, if you think Nate's the killer, what is his motive? Why would he kill Wes? To destroy Annalise emotionally? Or was it kind of like an accidental thing? They happened to be there. Wes caught him doing something, and he had no choice but to kill him so that he wouldn't talk about it. Elias says Nate doesn't seem killerish to you. No, but you know what? With this show, there's always so many surprises. I consider anyone on the show could be a killer, because many of them have killed before on the show. Now, Ralph says that Nate cannot be the killer because he is puzzled by everything and is investigating the case. Well, so maybe he wants you to think that, or maybe the show wants you to think that. I don't know. I mean, for me, that is not enough to mark him off my list. What else you got? Hi, Luke. Thank you for being here. Daniela wants to know why Maggie would be at the house. Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have also commented that they think that she is related to the DA, like the DA is her aunt, because she made some kind of statement maybe last season that her aunt was a lawyer. So that kind of adds up there. Now, she could be doing some behind the scenes stuff that we didn't see on camera. She seems very investigative in this episode, trying to stick her nose in where it doesn't belong. My main reason for still keeping Maggie as a suspect is this girl should no longer be on this show. Her boyfriend dumped her, and her ex-boyfriend died. So I don't understand the purpose of keeping her around. She had a decent part in the first 2 episodes of this half of the season. So why are we still dealing with her? Why is she still around? To me, she should be completely irrelevant and not even on the show, because she's not a main cast member. So I'm very confused why she is still a part of the storyline every week if there's not a lot more to her story. Frank, I think I've told you guys in my videos and reactions, I like him. Yes, I know he's not a good guy, but I still like the guy. I don't know. I don't, make excuses for what he has done. I definitely, absolutely do not think he killed Wes. Absolutely not. Giuliano says the killer is not one of the Keating Four. They already lost one member, Wes, and they would not risk to lose another one who could go to jail for that murder. I agree. I don't think it's going to be the rest of the Keating family. Ralph says puzzlement is a clear sign of not knowing what's going on. You definitely feel Maggie is involved, and I'm spot on about Maggie. Yeah, I feel, I'm not going to say she has to be the killer, but for those of you who think she's related to the DA, yes. Now, could the DA be our killer? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of people saying that, but let's think about that for a minute. She is desperate to destroy Annalise. She knew that if she killed Wes, who was someone she really cared about. She even said this to her last night. He was a son figure for you. You were a mother figure to him. You took him in as an orphan. She knew that would destroy her emotionally. Plus, she knew she could turn it around and frame her for his murder. So think about that for a little bit. I have seen a lot of comments lately about Eggs 911. Eggs 911, Rebecca's brother, kind of disappeared after he got arrested after he was framed with drugs. I think Frank set him up. Where has he been? I don't know. They haven't hinted about him or mentioned him or anything, but of course he has the motivation to get back at someone. Now, does he have the motivation to get back at Wes? No, because Wes wasn't involved in Rebecca's murder whatsoever. Wes loved Rebecca, but maybe he thought Wes was involved, or he showed up at the house digging for information and Wes was the wrong place, the wrong time. I really kind of hope that Wes's murder wasn't a case of wrong place, wrong time, and someone had to kill him because he saw something. I hope the person who killed him specifically wanted to kill him because that's just juicier. As far as the people who have commented that they still believe he is alive, I definitely don't think it's that type of show. This is not Pretty Little Liars, and that's no shade to you guys, but they've shown his body in the morgue. They've shown many photos of his burned body. I just don't see them bringing him back unless this was some sort of supernatural show, which it's not. And I think we need to keep him dead. I think it would really hurt the credibility of the show if they tried to say, hey, he survived. The only other way around that is if they want to try to say he had a twin or something, which I still think is equally lame. I'm going to go back to your comments. There's so many of them. Ben says at this point, Maggie should be irrelevant in the show, and the fact that she's still hanging around is definitely shady. Absolutely. And they very much made her seem the shadiest they've ever made her seem in this episode. Laurel pointed it out. I kind of enjoyed the fact that everyone else kind of dismissed it because I still feel like that clinches her as a suspect. So because if everyone is like, oh my God, Maggie probably did it, then she probably didn't. Luke is hoping for a flashback of the fire. I definitely think we could get that by the end of this season. What is going on with the autopsy? I've had several comments with people who believe different things. And that's why I'm here talking to you guys. Some of you have told me that they are sure that Wes died before the fire, but as of last night's episode, I still feel like it was up in the air as to did he die before the fire, like what was originally thought, or did he die during the fire, which is what the autopsy points out. Did someone doctor the autopsy? Did someone pay off that person to change the autopsy? What is up with that? Kieran says the first person you thought of was Oliver. He's the first person at the crime scene. He would totally be capable of doing this to protect Connor, and he would know exactly how to do it. He left straight away in the premiere too. I support that because Oliver has been a suspect of mine since I've known him pretty much as well. He's kind of like a Maggie for me. Even though I've never liked Maggie, I've always disliked her. But, excuse me, I actually do like Oliver. I like his character. And he makes me think he's a great guy, which is even more reason for him to be a bad guy because he seems like a good guy. But I don't have any concrete reasons why I think he would kill Wes. Killing Wes is pretty low, and I feel like if he was killed on purpose, that there has to be a reason, someone who has the motivation. Maggie had the motivation to kill Wes. I don't think Eggs 911 necessarily did, unless it was like wrong place, wrong time. I think the DA had motivation to kill Wes. Apparently there's an Oliver theory. Oh, about the FBI. Well, that's from Ralph, unless other people are talking about that elsewhere. That was Ralph's theory, Jordell, about him being an FBI agent, which I actually like that better. If you guys, if I missed your comment, just come back, comment again, because I know I'm missing some of you guys. Unicorn Khan says, personally hope Oliver is not it because you do like him and he has computer skills that the group can use. I kind of am with you on this. I do like Oliver. Only the devious part of me, like I love, insane twists and everything where the very good person is bad. So that would make me happy. But at the same time, I like him. I don't like Maggie. So if she ends up being the killer, I'm fine with that. Ben says the DA says he was killed in the fire, but the preliminary autopsy woman said that she thought he was killed before. Maybe she was paid off to change it, or the DA changed it so they could keep Annalise. To me, the better storyline is Wes was killed before the fire, because then you have homicide rather than someone was just trying to destroy evidence in Annalise's house and he was there and they didn't know. Ralph says that Wes died before the fire. Nate knew this because he was first at the morgue. Then Frank paid off the cop, and then Wes's death results change. This is why Nate is freaking out, because he knows the truth. Okay, so thank you. I think we've got that settled then, that Wes died before the fire, but there is some shadiness surrounding that. Because we saw Frank pay that cop, and that makes sense that he was paying the cop to change the death results to dying from asphyxiation because of smoke inhalation. So, all right, let's get to some more comments. Hi, Mona. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Jordell says the Levi theory was that he went to the house to confront Annalise and Wes and was there and ended up getting hurt. I think that's X911. Dylan says maybe Laurel killed Wes because she could not cope with her being pregnant with Wes's baby while he was with Maggie, and she snapped and went into the house to cover her tracks. Well, if you believe what she is saying, she didn't even know she was pregnant, and that was discovered when she was admitted to the hospital. I don't really see Laurel killing Wes at all. They definitely seem to be doing fine before all of this happened. That would be really depressing if that happened. Giuliano wants to know if we're ever going to see more of Bonnie and Annalise. And the hookup scene, was that a one-time thing or what? You don't ship it? I don't know. That's a good question. Definitely could come around again since Eve is gone, but I feel like it's going to be a minute because AK is still in jail and is emotionally destroyed right now. So I don't think she's ready for any of that kind of stuff right now. So Luke says in the promo, Laurel and Nate go to see Wes's body in the morgue, and they see it and they're shocked and they say, oh my God. I don't know if they see something else or if it's just the shock of seeing someone you love's dead body, burnt, crispy. I would personally not even want to see it, probably. Sometimes you have to see it to identify. That's not the case here, but anyway, Elias thinks that Connor has some serious issues. He never was able to handle knowing about these murders at all. I mean, I don't think Connor's our killer, but I think he feels trapped because he's committed crimes. People have dirt on him now. The DA knows all of Annalise's secrets, and he could go to jail, and he knows that. He's tried to escape before, but he knows she would probably have him killed or something bad would happen. And if that didn't happen, eventually the police would catch up with everything she has done, and he would still go to jail. I mean, he really knows that, really and truly, I don't think all of these crimes are going to go hidden forever and going to go unnoticed forever. And I think eventually people are going to have to pay. It will make no sense to me if this series ends and no one ever goes to jail long term and gets convicted of some of these crimes, because I know it isn't real life, but in the same, it's not fantasy, it's not science fiction. So at some point people need to pay for what they did. Ralph says Maggie is related or involved with someone AK has affected from the first 2 seasons. And I think that's really smart to think that as well. There are so many people who have been in this show who we don't see anymore. The Hapstals were mentioned last night. They quickly went through some of the people she has screwed over or who are dead or whatever. She could be related to the Rebecca storyline somehow. We don't know. Could be a best friend, could be a relative, who knows? So I don't really know. I think that's is right. That's good thinking. Either that or she's related somehow to the DA. But I always felt like Maggie didn't really care that much about Wes. As you can see, she hasn't even seemed that upset that he died. I definitely think she was a plant and their whole relationship was fake. I've always felt that way. I just don't know all of the pieces. Jordell saw another theory that Simon Drake, who we've completely not seen. I don't know what is going on with Simon this half of the season. He hasn't been mentioned. We haven't seen him. And there was a lot of speculation last half season would he be the one who killed Wes, or did he do this, or whatever? That would be one of the lamest scenarios, in my opinion, even if they say he's connected to some of Annalise's old crimes. Just because I'm really, really hoping it's not someone from the past or someone random who's connected to someone from the past who killed Wes, because, you know, that just doesn't have the same shock value for me. Okay, Dylan, thank you so much for being here. Tutti Frutti was suspicious about Maggie, but after seeing her so sketchy, pretty much convinced, but then again, that would be obvious for how to get away with murder. Yeah, but we could have her involved in a way. I'm saying she doesn't have to be the killer, but she's doing something. And I just still think it's weird that she's never seemed upset about Wes dying. She seemed to be all about him, although I never believed that. Now she doesn't really seem that affected by his death. Rachel asked if I think Marcia Gay Harden, Hannah Keating is coming back. Yeah, I definitely think she'll play into this storyline again somehow, because she was mentioned last week, and I think she'll be back. I just don't know when. Karen says the coroner wrote homicide on the autopsy report in the beginning of the episode after she did the autopsy, so we know for a fact it was. So I think we can go ahead and clear that up, that he was killed before the fire. And this is something else that we kind of discussed last week. Could Wes have died because it was an accident, wrong place, wrong time, or somebody was just burning the house down and didn't know he was there? I hope not. I think not. Especially if they are saying it's a murder now and not just he died because he got caught up in the fire. I think it was a murder. And I'm hoping that someone set out to kill him specifically. You know, it wasn't like they set out to kill Annalise, but instead he was there. They were expecting her, so they just had to kill him. I mean, I'm hoping not. Ralph says, don't forget that in the first half of the season, Maggie searched through Wes's wallet looking for info, and as an excuse, she said looking for his birthday. That's a really good point that I'd actually forgotten. I remember him being pretty pissed off about that, because that's freaking weird, you know. You don't go through someone's personal things like that, and her excuse was really lame. So I think that's just another thing that made me believe early on something's not right with this woman, and, you know, the fact she's still on the show definitely leads me to believe that as well. And again, if we want to make her a main suspect, you have to think about the fact that she has the motive to kill Wes. And if we are saying that Wes was murdered, and we hope that he was murdered because he was targeted, then there are very few people in my mind who we know on the show who have that motive to kill him. Maggie and the DA are the only people that I can think of who would want to actually kill him, okay? Now, unless the scenario is he was there and in the way and he had to be killed, maybe the person knew they killed, obviously knew they killed him because he was murdered, but didn't really want to kill him, but had to. But I don't want it to go that way. The point of lying about Wes's death, what is that point, asked Nice? Well, you know, I feel like for the DA, it would be better for her case if Wes was murdered, because that's more, it's easier to, you know, that's more sensational and everything, easier to pin on somebody rather than he died as part of, you know, someone was trying to set the house on fire but didn't know he was in there. Okay, Luke says, I think we're going to have flashbacks of hours before the explosion, and in the finale, we're going to know everything and what really happened. I really hope so. I would really love a replay of what happened that night. I would love to go back and see exactly what happened. Elias is wondering if the dean killed Wes. I mean, I hope not. She could have some other issues or some kind of connection that we don't know about, but that just seems kind of stupid to me. Tutti Frutti just wants to see Bonnie slain for one time. Every time you think she will prove herself, she kind of fails. She kind of does. Absolutely. But she should be really worried. She's probably really worried this season, because if she gets tied to Rebecca's murder, she's in a lot of trouble. Okay, let's see if I'm going back through these comments to see here's a theory from Nice about Nate. Two theories. He knows Wes was working with the police, so either he wanted to protect Annalise or he wanted to hurt her and knew she would take the blame. I feel that too, but I mean, let's see. If Nate killed Wes, then he is cold-hearted, because, you know, if he's really, really mad at Annalise, go after her. Going after Wes, that's the other thing that you have to look at, is that somebody may not have killed Wes because they had a problem with Wes, but they knew that he was the one person who they could kill, who would destroy Annalise and break her down and destroy her emotionally. So I'm into that. I like that theory. I think here's another question for you guys. Whoever is revealed as the killer, I personally think will be off of the show after this season. So Maggie or the DA would be pretty easy people to kick off and we wouldn't care about. You have to wonder if the guy who's playing Nate is wanting to leave, or is he, maybe he doesn't want to leave, but could we live without him? I think so. Unicorn says there are many people playing different parts, like a different person set the fire, a different person killed him. So that's the other scenario that we could have here, is that it was a group effort or a two-person effort, which is probably more likely, that two people went to that house, to one to set the fire, one to kill Wes, and you have to figure out who did what. And if that is the case, they may end up revealing someone before the finale and say, this is your person who's involved, but then they may not end up being the actual killer, I think, which would be really interesting. Karen says, you've heard of a theory that a body was a dummy that was paid for by Frank and Bonnie, and they kidnapped him because he found out about Rebecca. I still believe Wes is dead, and I don't mean to insult anyone or to make anyone upset who wishes he was back on the show. I think when I did my finale video, I made a lot of people very angry, actually, because I said he wasn't my favorite character. Some people took it way to another level, but everyone has favorite characters in a show, and I didn't want him to die, but I'm not devastated that he's dead, but I didn't dislike him at all, but he definitely wasn't my favorite. But me saying that I don't think he is alive doesn't mean I'm happy he's dead. I don't know. I just got some pretty far out comments about how me saying that he wasn't my favorite and I wasn't really going to miss him. I'm just being completely honest because that's the way I am with you guys. But to take that to another level and to imply other things is crazy. But that is what some people did. I had to get rid of those comments because they were out of line. But anyway, just to let you guys know, he wasn't my favorite, but it really doesn't go beyond that. He just didn't stick out to me. He was pretty much the main star of the Keating Five, but he just wasn't my favorite. I think everyone has different favorites on different shows. Like, I'm a Team Betty person on Riverdale, and there's way more of you guys on Team Veronica, but I like Veronica. I prefer Betty. You know, I don't want, Veronica to die, but you know how it goes. Yeah, Connor has definitely had a character change this season 3. I don't hate Connor. I see his point of view. I really did not like what he did in last week's episode. I see where he's coming from. I try to put myself in his position. If I were involved in this and I had committed some crimes, I would feel trapped, and I don't think I would feel helpless. Like, I'm never getting out of this situation. If I leave, she might kill me. If she doesn't kill me, she might turn me over to the police, or the police are going to find me. I just kind of feel like their lives are over in a way because they're always haunted by the crimes they committed, But yeah, I mean, Connor is annoying. I think they want him to be annoying this season. I think he will probably mellow out. I think there's hope for him to change and to grow and to be different in season 4. But I don't hate him, but I see he's struggling. He's going through a lot, this season. And just a heads up, I'm doing my first Riverdale chat tonight at 6 p.m. So shortly after we finish here, 6 p.m. Eastern. So I had a lot of great feedback on my first reaction video. So I hope you guys will come over to that chat after we're done here, because I think we have a lot to talk about with that show. Eli liked when Annalise cut her hair. That was a really dramatic scene. I can't imagine how much it would hurt to take a single razor blade and pull your hair. I mean, it had to hurt. Obviously, that was fake and acting, but it would have to hurt so much. So I can't even imagine how that would hurt. But at the same time, I felt like that was a really dramatic scene, and it just kind of shows what Annalise's emotional state is right now in jail. And I think, yes, Rachel says Viola, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, Asia, Michaela were great last night. Absolutely. But anyway, Karen says Jack Fillahee has been in so he's in a new show. You may have said that earlier, or someone else said that earlier. Yeah, I mean, he's on Mercy Street. So, I mean, to me, I don't know if that means he's leaving the show. If you guys have heard that, let me know. It doesn't always mean that. I know a lot of people were wondering about Alfred Enoch, like, why is he dying? Is he trying to get off the show? Does he have something in the works? But he said in an interview that no, that like they just told him his character was gone. He didn't want to leave. it was just, that's what they wanted to do with the show. It's nothing about his performance. That's just the way they wanted it to go with his character. Firkin says Maggie wanted to talk to Wes and they started fighting and Maggie killed him by accident, but you don't know, maybe she hit him or whatever, but she did not want to do it. Yeah, I mean, I hope there's more to that than just Maggie being jealous and everything. I really do hope, kind of like Ralph said, that she's connected to some other story, because the whole fact that she came around and was trying to date Wes, it was all a little bit weird and all seemed kind of fake. So I'm hoping there's more to it than she just went psycho because he dumped her. Of course, that's a reason for some people to do crazy things. Elias says that Michaela is becoming one of your favorites. Never realized till last episode how little her and Wes actually talked. I never realized that either. I would have said if you'd asked me that they were, friends or whatever. I don't remember them being super close, but at the same time, they kind of made it seem like they never talked after last week's episode, which is interesting. There's some crazy comments on here. I've heard a few people saying there's a rumor that there's a 2-hour finale. I don't know anything about that, but, I'm down with it, of course. Any extra time we get for this show would be great. Nee says, last year you were so sure Oliver was doing something, but you don't know anymore. All he did this season was date random guys, and it seems like he doesn't want to know anything about Sam. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still think I do like him, as I've said, but I think it would be such an amazing reveal to make him somehow sinister. But the theory about him being an FBI agent really makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense, and then it makes us not have to hate him or anything because he's not a bad guy. Mr. HOD says this season is kind of boring until the final minutes. I personally have thought the last 2 episodes were really good, and I thought the first half of the season, there were a couple of episodes I remember thinking weren't as great as it should be for this show, but I don't know. I feel like they've really packed the last 2 episodes with a lot, and I'm really critical, as you know, about shows I watch, and pretty upfront about if I think they're slow or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I've really been liking it, but, everyone feels different about stuff. But Luke says, you thought, okay, that's funny, because Luke also thinks last night's episode was kind of slow. For some reason, I was really into it, but probably because of all of the Maggie drama, because I had been so suspecting her and did my theory video on her last week. And to see them address that was cool, because I was like, okay, I'm sort of on the right lines of thinking here. And Firkin thought it, I guess, was a little bit boring too. Interesting. Will Oliver turn them in? Michaela tried to threaten him, Rachel, who made that comment. And, I don't know. That's a risk they're going to have to take, because he's kind of been involved in some criminal activity, but not on their level. So he could turn them in and he would be okay and they would not be, but it's playing with fire. Absolutely. Niece thought the episode was really intense. I did too. I mean, sometimes when this show's on, there's sometimes where I'm kind of like a little bit bored, and I can always tell now that I'm doing reaction videos, when I have nothing to say for extended periods of time, that's kind of a slow episode, but I felt like I had a lot to say for this episode, but I don't know. McCara says that Maggie could be related to Atwood or the Dean. They've both gone after Annalise in some way, and Maggie could have dated Wes to get into the group. Absolutely. I think that kind of echoes what other people have said, and I think that makes so much sense. And I still really don't understand Atwood's deal. Why is she so mad at Annalise? Why is she determined to bring her down? They've probably talked about that some. She's not as annoying as Sinclair, but she is close. I'm with you, Luke. And I stopped watching Scandal, and I've heard I shouldn't have, because apparently it's amazing now. But I got bored with like the 3rd season, and I should have come back. I don't know. What are my thoughts on Michaela killing Wes? No, I really don't think so. I really don't think any of the Keating 4 killed him. And will Eve come back? I don't know. It's a good question. Quickly, just wanted to mention a couple of things to you guys. My video where I go more in depth about this week's episode will be up tomorrow. Also, Saturday Night Live returns live. It wasn't on last week, so I will be doing a reaction to that. So if you're interested in that show, that's something I'm testing out on here. Watch it if you're interested and give me some feedback as to whether or not you want me to keep doing that show. And This Is Us returns this week. I will finish out this season. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Of course, Riverdale. Tonight is the chat. And I'm thinking about adding a Riverdale theory video starting next week, because you guys have really been into that show. Ralph says if Oliver is undercover, then Asher telling him he wasn't involved with the Sam thing will help him in the long run. Yes, Asher made that, what do you call it? He made that statement. He confessed, kind of, even though there was nothing to confess, that he was out of the loop. And he wasn't involved. They didn't involve him in the same thing, which is very helpful to Asher. But I think Asher was the one who killed Sinclair, right? My next eating show, I don't know. I have an idea for it. Maybe next week. I know you guys enjoyed that, and that was really fun for me. So I'll try to do that next week, hopefully. I'm getting really busy with the TV shows. I want to do more eating shows, but I kind of also want to have those as a way to fill in time, spaces of time where there's like shows aren't on or shows haven't come back yet, something like that. But I do want to do more. I will do more. Jasmine says Oliver is getting called into question in the episode next week, according to the episode synopsis. That's interesting. That'll be interesting to see. But we need to wrap this up simply because I have another chat with most of you guys, hopefully at 6 p.m. I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Just know if you got here late or whatever, this will be up on my channel in like 5 minutes. And I reply to everyone's comments. So if I wasn't able to answer your question, or get to your comment, you can comment on this when it's up as a video or comment on my reaction video, and I will get back to you. And there are some people I haven't responded to from earlier today who commented, and I will get back to you as well for that. If you have not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you would thumbs this up as a video. If you're watching this as a video and not live, please thumbs it up. I hope to see you guys in 30 minutes for my Riverdale chat. Check the homepage. There's already a link, or check Twitter. I've already tweeted out a link to that. So yes, boing mango drink must be cold. Room temperature is no bueno. Bye guys. Hope to see you guys in a few minutes. Bye.